Hi, I'm Abby Ketchum, Inspire Vancouver's Communications Specialist, and I'm here to talk to you about the Inspire Vancouver program, how it works, and most importantly, how it might support the important work that you're doing in our community. And if I don't answer all of your questions through this info session, please feel free to reach out to me or any of the other Inspire Vancouver staff, and we will gladly answer any more of your questions. This presentation is an introduction to Inspire Vancouver and the funding opportunities it can offer. We'll walk through the different types of grants, and I'll explain what kinds of projects are a good fit. I'll also share information about eligibility and grant application timing. Most importantly, this is an invitation. If you see yourself or your work reflected in the presentation today, I hope you will continue to explore the program and consider applying for an Inspire Vancouver grant. So what is Inspire Vancouver? It's a grant program that invests in community-based arts, culture, heritage, and science experiences for the public. You'll see some simple definitions of what is included in each of these categories on the screen. These categories are an important part of the identity of this program. Inspire Vancouver is one of several cultural access programs across the state that were created to make sure more people can participate in meaningful arts, culture, heritage, and science experiences in their local communities. Inspire Vancouver isn't just about funding individual projects. It's about strengthening our overall cultural ecosystem of our community. Inspire Vancouver is guided by four key goals. First, increasing access by making sure more people can participate, especially those who may not have had access in the past. Second, building connection and belonging through shared experiences. Third, investing in local organizations, artists, educators, and creatives who are already doing this important work. And fourth, encouraging creativity and learning that will help spark imagination and innovation. These goals were set to make sure the program provides public benefits to our community. Inspire Vancouver is funded through the Cultural Access Tax, a 0.1% sales tax in Vancouver that was adopted by City Council in December 2024. That 0.1% tax equals about 1 cent for every $10 you spend, or $30 a year for the average household in Washington. Collection of the tax started in May 2025, and now that we have a year's worth of revenue collected, we are getting ready to open the grants and distribute the funds. If any cultural access tax money is not spent during the year, it stays in the program to be spent during the next grant cycle. Vancouver's cultural access tax is expected to bring in $6 to $7 million each year. 10% of those funds are set aside to administer the Inspire Vancouver program, which means paying for staff, technology, and operations to make sure Inspire Vancouver is run effectively and fairly. The other 90% of the funds go directly to eligible applicants in the 5 Inspire Vancouver grant categories. This is a huge opportunity to invest in arts, culture, heritage, and science in our community every single year. There are 5 types of grants available through Inspire Vancouver, and today we're going to focus on the 4 competitive categories: innovation grants, impact grants, comprehensive grants, and capital grants. Each of these grant types is designed to support different kinds of work, so there's some flexibility depending on what your organization or idea needs to succeed. Inspire Vancouver also provides school grants. Each year, a minimum of 10% of Inspire Vancouver funding is set aside to support students in Vancouver and Evergreen public schools to help pay for eligible field trip and administration costs. These transportation school grants don't require an application and are distributed directly to the school districts. So I'm not going to spend much time talking about them today, but you're welcome to go on our site and to learn more. One thing that makes Inspire Vancouver grants unique is that they do not require reimbursement. Large grants may be distributed in installments, but the money starts to become available after the grant is awarded. This upfront funding makes Inspire Vancouver grants more accessible to organizations of all sizes. You can also apply for grants in multiple categories within the same grant cycle. This means you could apply for a comprehensive grant for help with your operating costs and an impact grant to support a specific event you're planning, but you can't submit multiple applications in the same category. So now let's talk a little bit about the different types of Inspire Vancouver grants that you can consider. Innovation grants encourage creativity and are designed to support creative risk-taking. These grants range from $5,000 to $25,000 with a one-year project window. Innovation grants are all about new ideas and can support pilot projects, new collaborations, and first-time efforts. So if you've been thinking about trying something new, reaching a different audience, or testing out a concept that hasn't been done before, this is the grant for you. Impact grants are the type of grant that is probably most familiar to people. These grants range from $10,000 to $75,000 in a one-year project window. Impact grants support short-term project-based work like events, workshops, performances, or community programs. They're typically one-time or seasonal, and they're a great fit if you have a clear idea you want to bring to life or are looking for some extra support to keep your programming financially sustainable. Comprehensive grants are for organizations that are looking for support to do ongoing, larger scale sustained programming. These multi-year grants range from $100,000 to $300,000. So instead of funding just one event or project, comprehensive grants support a broader body of work over time and can be used for things like operating costs, technology upgrades, or expanding free and low cost programs. These are typically a good fit for more established organizations with a track record of programming and community impact. Capital grants are focused on physical improvements or infrastructure. They're multi-year grants that start at $300,000 and go up from there. Capital grants might be used for things like accessibility upgrades or improvements to a building or space where programming happens. They can also be used as a matching funds or seed money for major capital projects. These are longer-term investments that help strengthen your ability to deliver programs in the future. Because these projects can be more complex, we encourage you to connect with me or any of our other staff at Inspire Vancouver if you're considering applying for a capital grant. Now let's talk about eligibility because this is typically where people have the most questions. One of the most important eligibility factors is that your organization's primary purpose must be to advance arts, culture, heritage, or science in Vancouver. Primary purpose means your overall mission and programming, not just the project you're proposing, needs to align with the goals of Inspire Vancouver. Applicants should be 501c3 nonprofits. If you are not a nonprofit, you may be able to apply with a nonprofit fiscal sponsor. A fiscal sponsor is a nonprofit that accepts funds on your behalf and handles the financial and administrative tasks for your project. There are also some important location considerations. Because this program is funded through a Vancouver-specific tax, you must be located within Vancouver city limits or provide at least 55% of your programming within city limits to be eligible. You also need to provide public programming for residents of Vancouver as part of the public benefits requirement. If you aren't sure whether a location is within city limits, you can find a link to an online mapping tool on the Inspire Vancouver website. On the Inspire Vancouver website, there is an eligibility checker under the Resources tab. This interactive tool will ask you a series of yes or no questions to help you see if you are eligible for Inspire Vancouver funding. If there are any questions that are unclear, you can click on the "What's this?" text in the right-hand corner of the question box to learn more about how to respond. If you work through the checker and are eligible, it will take you to the About Our Grants webpage so you can learn more. If you find out that you are not eligible, the checker will take you to a webpage where you can learn more about other grant opportunities with the City of Vancouver. You can restart the eligibility checker at any point by refreshing the webpage. There are some groups that are never eligible for Inspire Vancouver funding due to state requirements. That includes state and local government agencies, including the City of Vancouver, organizations that redistribute funds, and most media outlets. With all that said, one of the most important things we can say is please don't self-eliminate. If you're not sure whether you qualify or if you have trouble using the eligibility checker, please reach out. Me or any of the other Inspire Vancouver staff would much rather have a conversation and learn more about your work than to see you miss out on a funding opportunity because you assumed it wasn't a good fit. You can contact staff through the form on the Inspire Vancouver website or through the email I'll share on the final slide of the presentation. We're here to help you navigate this. I hope that at this point in the presentation, you are excited about Inspire Vancouver. So let's talk about next steps. In our first year, we're rolling out grant opportunities in phases. Impact, innovation, and comprehensive grants will open this summer for funding in 2026 and 2027. Capital grant timing will be announced this fall for funding in 2027. School grants will begin with the 2026 to 27 school year for Vancouver and Evergreen Public Schools. So, what can you do now? The next step is to visit the website and review the detailed guidelines for each grant type. Start thinking about your grant ideas, even if they're not fully formed yet. Follow Inspire Vancouver on Instagram and LinkedIn, and join our email list to be notified when applications open or when grant workshops are scheduled. You can also reach out to program staff, including me, to keep the conversation going. We're happy to talk with you and help you determine the best path forward. At the end of the day, the program exists because of you, your ideas, your work, and your connection to the community. If you're doing something that brings people together, creates access, and builds cultural experiences, we want to hear about it. Inspire Vancouver is about building something together, stronger connections, more access, and more vibrant community. Your work is a critical part of that, and we're excited about the possibility of supporting you with Inspire Vancouver. On the screen, you can find the Inspire Vancouver website address and our email. Me or any of the other Inspire Vancouver staff are here to answer any of the questions you might have, so please reach out. Thank you.